Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your days today to join us for this webinar this afternoon that will focus on Mutual Omaha's competitive advantages in the over-65 Medicare supplement market, and also discuss some of its underwriting tactics and strategies to help you and your clients save more money on their Medicare supplements, help you earn more money, and provide more value to your client relationships. Making the presentation this afternoon is our sales director of Mutual Omaha. I'm happy to welcome Jason Weber, Mutual Omaha Medicare Supplement Sales Director, and who will be making the presentation. Before we begin, I will let you know that you have the opportunity to ask questions. You can just type those questions into the chat box that you see there on the GoToWebinar control panel there on your computer screen. Just type it in, and we will be sure to answer and address all questions at the conclusion of the presentation. So thank you all very much for joining us this afternoon, and now I turn it over to Jason.
All right, thanks a lot, Rob, and welcome everybody. It's good to be with you today. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to learn a little bit more about our product line and a unique topic today for sure. It seems like Medicare Supplement is very exciting because it presents a unique opportunity where a lot of other insurance products, especially in the senior market, it differs a little bit in that when someone turns 65, they have an initial enrollment period in which they will not get knocked out of the underwriting process because there isn't one, right? You have a guaranteed solution. A lot of people see the opportunity that unique situation presents because you can make a lot of money, right? And it's a great way to build initial rapport with clients. You can pivot to some other products that you see as needs in your initial fact-finding interviews. So it's very easy to see why that's so exciting, to focus on the T65, the turning 65 demographic within the senior space. But we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of a different strategy today, and that is focusing on the over 65 market. The caveat there, of course, is that your clients have to go through an underwriting process, and as you get older in age, it's only practical to assume that people just aren't as healthy as they once were, even if it's a couple years down the road. They're 67, 68, 70, right along in those age ranges. People grow more frail. They're going to be taking more medications. A lot of those present obstacles that we have to overcome. So I want to talk a little bit more about why this is just as much of an opportunity for you as the T65 crowd. And because underwriting is a very big factor here, like Rob said, I want to talk a little bit more about our underwriting guidelines to help you make that process a little bit more efficient. If you say, you know what, I hear everything you're saying today, I'm going to talk to, John Smith. I talked to him last week. He doesn't like the rate he's paying. And we're really going to go after this new market that I really haven't focused on before. But if you experience a lot of declines, you may get dissuaded from really jumping off that cliff. So if I can help you to understand where our sweet spots are, some things that are going to make that process a little bit more efficient, hopefully it can be the opportunity that we're talking about today. That'll be about half the call today. And then after that, I just want to focus a little bit on some of the other things that we're bringing to the table as a MedSup company. As you all know, MedSup is a commodity product. It's largely the same. If we're looking at the coverage your client receives, whether it be a Plan F or a Plan G, et cetera, a Plan G is a Plan G is a Plan G, as I always say. So what are some things that we're doing as a company to earn more of your business, to encourage you to place more of your MedSup business with Mutual of Omaha? I want to talk about a few of those company differentiators, and then we'll end up the call today talking about a few sales strategies, kind of like this first one, this over 65 push, but we'll talk about a few other ones just to help you grow your business in a more substantial way, okay? So that's kind of the goal for today's call. You can see on this slide that I said the over 65 is an underserved market. And I alluded to that a little bit already. People really focus on the T65 crowd because they don't have to go through an underwriting process, and you can make a lot of money in a relatively short period of time. But because the over 65 market is underserved, this presents a unique opportunity to you. Think of when someone turns 65, or even a little bit before that, maybe around 6 months ahead of their 65th birthday. They're inundated with postcards, with mailers, with phone calls from call center agents from halfway across the country. But the over-65 crowd is relatively untouched. And just think of maybe a med sup that you wrote 5 years ago. There are rate adjustments that come into play. They're not paying what they paid a few years ago. And if they are healthy enough to move, you have a very real value proposition that you can provide to those older clients. If they're healthy enough to move, maybe you can quote them a rate or from another insurance company. There's going to be no interruption to benefits. There's going to be no change to benefits. You can get them into the same plan, but with a different company. If they can pass through that underwriting process, you can help save them $10, $20 a month. And that's a great opportunity that you have as a face-to-face insurance agent. Let's be honest, there's a lot of med sup business today that's being written by call center agents. Those individuals are not reaching out to clients they have on their book. They don't have a very real and personable relationship that you can provide as a face-to-face agent. So really seize upon that opportunity, and it's a great way to protect your book of business. If you're doing annual reviews with your clients, you're continuing to take a look at what rate they're paying and to see what other options are out there in the market today. You have a great way to continue to grow that relationship you have with your client, and you can ensure that they're going to stay your client for the long haul. Okay, moving along, I got a few maps that I want to show you. The first one is what our rate looks like relative to our top competitors in the marketplace. You can see at the top in that text there, we're looking at the Plan G rate for a female that is 67 years old, non-tobacco, with our household discount approved, or where it is approved, it's being quoted in this data here. We have very competitive rates at age 67 in a lot of different areas all around the country. And this one is a little bit old. We recently released new rates in Nebraska and Iowa, in West Virginia and Illinois. They're not reflected on this map, but we have very competitive rates now in more places than what this graphic represents. This map is provided to your marketer at Art Jeter & Company, so reach out to them. This is a great resource. If you're wanting to design a marketing campaign, you know, it's a new year, it's 2018, it's going fast, it's already almost the second quarter. This is a great starting point to identify pockets where Mutual of Omaha offers competitive rates for the older demographic, and again, that's a demographic that a lot of people aren't reaching out to. Okay, so use this to your advantage. It's going to give you a very good idea on where you can focus some of those marketing opportunities, or activities, I should say. Here's a very similar map. What we're looking at here is age 70. So again, Mutual of Omaha offers very competitive rates, sure, at age 65, but as a company, we want more underwritten business. It's more profitable to us as a company. Claims cost is lower. So we're going to do everything we can. We're going to give you resources that you can use so that you can focus on this untapped market. So reach out to your marketer, get this information from them, and we do update this on a monthly basis. Okay, now let's talk about that underwriting. It's the gorilla in the room, right? So anyone that's past their initial enrollment period, they have to go through an underwriting process. And we've done a lot of things as a company to make this process a little bit more efficient for you. First of all, if you take a look at an application in any of the states where we released a new product in either the later half of 2017 or this year in the states that I mentioned, West Virginia, Illinois, Nebraska, and Iowa, we're doing a better job today at making sure we're communicating what is a condition in which coverage cannot be offered, and one in which that even if you're saying yes, your client may be eligible for coverage. Okay, that way you're not spinning your wheels. You're wasting time sitting down with a client. You're talking through this conversation, this line of dialogue with them. You're filling out an application, and then it's getting declined. We want to make that process as efficient as we can. Okay, so there is one section that says, if you answer yes, your client is not eligible for coverage, and we'll show you screenshots of what this looks like in a second here. And there's a section that says, if you say yes, your client may not be eligible for coverage. So make sure you're paying attention to that. You're asking the right questions of your client. Again, that's going to help that process to be a little bit more efficient. And then as far as specific conditions in which your client may have, if we can bottom line it for you real quick, the idea here is that, and I'm reading the third bullet down here, if there have been no changes in treatment or medication in the previous 2 years, the condition is assumed to be controlled. A very good example of this is diabetes. If your client has diabetes, there's no complicating condition, high blood pressure, something like that, and their medication has not changed in the past 2 years, that is considered to be a controlled condition. Even if your client has diabetes, we will issue coverage for that individual, okay? So again, ask good questions, ask questions in addition to what's being asked on the application itself. This is going to help you to be a much more efficient field underwriter. Some additional questions that you can ask your client if you see that as an opportunity. Do they have eye or vision problems? Do they have numbness or tingling in their extremities, their feet and their hands? Do they have problems with circulation, any pain in their legs? These are not questions that show up on the application, but these are good questions to ask, because even if you're not asking them, I guarantee you the underwriter is asking your client these questions if a telephone interview is being conducted. Okay, so just make sure you're getting a full picture of what their overall health looks like. Here's a look at the application. So again, if you are writing business in any state that we've released a new product in since about third quarter last year, that would include states like North and South Carolina, Michigan, and there might be Missouri is on there as well, maybe a couple others. This is a new look to how we're organizing those health questions. We want to give you a better idea on whether or not your client can qualify. Okay, so here we have Part A, and it says in parentheses, if yes, that person is not eligible for coverage. Okay, and then Part B, this is a different set, and here all we're saying is your client may not be eligible for coverage. So we can still check yes, and we still may have a shot. And I don't have a screenshot of this portion, but at the end of the application, there's a note section. That's where you as an agent can make your case to the underwriter. They may have a specific condition like diabetes, like we just talked about, but say their prescription list has not changed. Say that they're relatively healthy relative to maybe how we answered questions in the health portion of the application. So bottom line, again, we want to make this process efficient for you, but really make sure you're asking the best questions so that we can get an idea. Another good resource that we give to agents writing our product is an underwriting guidelines document. This is just a look at the screenshot, and this is a really good resource. I only took a couple screenshots out of the health portion within that document, but this has really a wealth of information. It's going to talk through state-specific open enrollment opportunities that you may have in your state, like Missouri. It's going to talk about how guaranteed issue situations are going to play if someone is coming off of a Medicare Advantage plan, how to submit business if you haven't done that to Mutual of Omaha before. There's a lot of information. In addition to all of that, and relative to what we're talking about today, there's a list of uninsurable health conditions, so bar none. If your client has any of these, they're not eligible for coverage. Take a look at this document, study up on it, keep it in your briefcase. This is a good one to have as you sit with your clients, you interview them, and you're identifying whether or not they're a good candidate to fill out a new application for. In addition to the conditions, we also have a list, and this is the one on the right, of prescription drugs. If your client is taking any of these, they're not eligible for coverage either. So again, we're just trying to make that process a little bit more efficient. Okay, now we're going to switch gears again, and we're going to talk about a few of the additional things that we're doing as a company to earn more of your business. The first one is our broker bonus program, and this actually dovetails very well with what we just talked about. I mentioned before that We like underwritten business as a company. We're not shying away from that fact. It's more profitable for us just because the claims costs are lower. Generally speaking, people that go through an underwriting process relative to those that qualify during an open enrollment period, they're healthier people. They're going to claim less. They're going to claim that claim is going to cost less money. That's better business for us as a whole. That allows us to offer more competitive rates for a longer period of time. So to encourage you to give us more of that underwritten business, we designed this program that's going to pay you more for your underwritten business as well as your open enrollment business. Okay, we still want the open enrollment. Don't think that we, excuse me, don't think that we don't want that anymore. But we do pay more for the underwritten business. So $200 for that, and then $50 for the open enrollment. We have gotten a few questions on how this works. So, just so that we're clear here, almost all business is going to qualify towards the 5 app per month minimum that you need. Okay, so we're looking at business written in almost all states. We're talking about all plans. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. Okay, sorry about that. We're talking about all plans. We're talking about business issued in almost all states. All of that is going to count towards the 5 minimum. But for business that counts towards the payout that you're actually going to get paid on, it's just business that is issued for plans F, G, and N, and only for policies that are issued in the states, and you can see the list there. We've got a lot of questions on that, so just make sure you understand what is going to count towards the minimum versus what's going to count towards the bonus payout. And I know we're almost at the end here. You can see that it ends on March 31st. We haven't come to terms on what the new qualification parameters look like, but suffice it to say, we will be continuing this program through at least the second quarter. That's June 30th, but we just don't have those details available yet. But we will be continuing this program for sure, and you will have an opportunity to earn more cash if you focus more on the underwritten business with Mutual of Omaha. Okay, now I got 3 slides on our value adds. So these are programs that your Medicare Supplement clients with Mutual of Omaha are automatically enrolled into. There's no additional premium that your clients are going to pay for these. They can take advantage of them, and the idea here is we want people that have a good customer experience with our company. People that do, they tend to hold on to their policies longer. That means you're going to have happier clients, hopefully have healthier clients too. And you're going to get paid more money. That's more renewal income for you the longer that business stays on the books. So make sure you understand how these programs work. They're in place for a reason. The first one I have is iMed. This is offered to people, again, everyone that has our Medicare Supplement product except in the 5 states that you see at the bottom there. And this is discounts on frames, on contacts, on vision tests, anything like that. And seniors, they have a lot of vision needs, right? So hopefully this is something that a lot of people can utilize. It's in place, again, just to add additional value. The slide or the screenshot that you see there, that's actually a look at the flyer that comes in the policy output. So if you see that on your next MedSup policy that you issue with our company and it looks familiar, hopefully you can talk through it a little bit better with your client. The other one that we have is Amplifone Hearing Healthcare. This is the same sort of thing. It's just on all things hearing related. So discounts on hearing aids, it's discounts on hearing tests. We provide free batteries for hearing aids for a couple of years. And then we also match quotes that your clients may receive for a hearing aid, and we add an additional discount to that quoted rate or quoted price, I should say, of 5%. We all know hearing aids are super expensive, so there's a lot of value in this one as well. And that's the flyer that comes with the policy. There's a couple discounts that your client can cut out right from that sheet of paper, and they can take it into a provider to use that. The state availability is the same. So those 5 states that you see there, not available in those. And then the last one I have is Hospital Choice Savings, and this one is a little bit different. It's pretty cool. It's relatively new. We've only had this for about a year and a half now. We rolled it out in, I think it was June of 2016. And here's how it works. So we created this network with USA Senior Care, and it includes a list of all Part A facilities that are going to provide Part A benefits. So we're talking about hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, anything like that. If your client goes into one of the facilities that's included in this network, that facility has agreed to waive the Part A deductible. That Part A deductible is about $1,300. All MedSup plans, even Plan A, cover that Part A deductible. So if the facility isn't going to charge the insurance company, Mutual of Omaha in this case, for that $1,300, then we save a whole bunch of money. In just about a year and a half, we've saved over $12 million in claims costs. The story that we're sharing here that's going to impact your client is that we turn some of that savings over to them, and we do that through a $100 premium credit. Okay, it's an itemized line on the next billing statement, so they know exactly what it was for and what it's from. And your client has an opportunity to receive that premium credit each benefit period. Okay, so if they're admitted into a hospital, they come out of it, and I think it's 60 days lapse before they're maybe later admitted in at a later point in time. That is the start of a new benefit period. If they go back into a facility included in this network, again, they can save $100 off their next premium payment. The majority of this cost savings, we bake that back into the product line. So that helps to fund things like our broker bonus program. It helps us make improvements to the e-app, a whole bunch of things. It helps to combat rate increases. So this is a very strong program that we're very excited about. I should point out that people hear network and they get a little confused. Your client still has a MedSup that has always worked the same way. There is no network, okay? What we're talking about here is if your client goes into one of these facilities, they have an opportunity to earn the premium credit. If they go into a facility not included here, their MedSup will still work. It just means that they won't have the $100 premium credit to see on their next bill, okay? So just make sure you understand that. If you want to check out the list of hospitals that are included here, and I shouldn't say hospitals, again, that's all Part A facilities. Just go to this website. I won't do it here just in light of time, but write it down, check it out. If the network is good where you are, then you would definitely want to promote that to your clients. Now to finish up today, I just want to talk about a few additional sales ideas that we have. And this is nothing groundbreaking. I'm sure you've seen it before, but it's definitely good to reiterate it and go through it again. The first one I have is Plan N. So, we're a big Plan G company. That's our niche product. That's where we have the most competitive rates. You see lower rate increases too. But Plan N is also very popular, and it's starting to gain steam. I'm sure you've seen it as well. Plan N is very similar to the Plan G story. We push Plan G because over a longer period of time, your client can save more money, even though they have to pay the Part B deductible relative to Plan F, because F covers that charge, right? That expense. Well, N is very similar. N relative to G, it's another step down the ladder. It's a lower cost option, and if your client can rationalize the cost savings by having to pay these out of pocket, which may not come into play on a consistent basis, then Plan N may be a good opportunity for your client and a good one for you to talk through. So again, Plan N relative to Plan G, the only difference is these two items here. Okay, so they may have some additional co-pays that they would have to pay out of pocket because N doesn't cover those. We're talking $20 for an office visit, $50 for an emergency room visit, and then N does not cover Part B excess charges. What's an excess charge? Well, most providers have agreed to charge the Medicare approved amount for a particular service, but they're not required to. If the provider has said, you know what, I'm going to charge a little bit higher, and I believe they're allowed to charge up to 15% over the Medicare approved amount, it's called Medicare assignment, well, that's an excess charge. And if your client has a Plan N, they're going to have to pay that. That's the gap. That's the difference between the Medicare approved amount and the cost that the provider actually charges. If they have a Plan G will still cover that higher amount, but Plan N does not. And again, if your client can rationalize these two differences, but they can see that relative to the cost savings that Plan N is, it is cheaper because it provides less coverage, then it may be a good option. So definitely check that out. And if I take a look at that map again, we have very competitive plan end rates. So take a look at that if you haven't already. And then the last one I have is dental insurance. And we're pretty excited about this because we have not had a dental product for a long, long time. And, we're entrenched in the senior market. We have very good, very competitive, very strong senior market products. But dental is kind of a new play area for us. We haven't really played in this arena before. We're still going through filings that have not been approved, but we're in the majority of states at this point, and we'll show you where that is in just a second. But if you look at all ancillaries, all additional opportunities that you have to your MedSup clients, dental is far and away the most popular. And it's for good reason. Medicare does not cover most dental services. Unless your client is getting some sort of major dental work done while they're admitted into the hospital, Medicare is not going to cover that. And if Medicare doesn't cover it, the supplement's not going to cover it either. Your client needs to have a standalone individual dental insurance policy. We're looking at things like twice-a-year cleanings. We're taking a look at root canals and dentures and fillings. They need a standalone dental insurance policy to cover any of those types of services. Just a quick look at our dental product. We're just going to go through this really quickly because this was mainly a MedSup webinar today, but we have two available. We have the preferred and we have the protection plan. The preferred is a little bit more expensive at $45 to $50 a month relative to state, and then the protection plan is a little bit cheaper at about $35 a month. First thing I want to highlight here is that the issue ages go all the way down to 19 and all the way up to 99. This is being heavily promoted to the senior market, but Medicare Supplement is not required to get this product, and they don't have to be 65 either. It goes all the way down to 19 and all the way up to 99. And then the other thing I want to point out real quick, we're just going to kind of skip around and go to the main points that I want to communicate today. From a competitive standpoint, these are very competitive plans because there is no waiting period for either basic services or preventive services, okay? So if your client, day one, once the policy is enforced, if they want to get a filling taken care of, this policy will pay. There's only a waiting period, and it's 12 months for major services. Those are things like crowns, dentures, bridges, etc. And then, excuse me, moving along, another thing from a competitive standpoint that I want to point out is that both of these plans are going to cover implants. Okay, you see implants are recommended more and more these days. A lot of dental policies don't cover implants. Well, this one does. Okay, even the cheaper the protection plan, that's going to have an implant coverage as well. We have a lifetime max for this type of service. It's $3,000 for the preferred and $2,000 for the protection plan. A couple additional points I want to point out on here before we wrap it up today. There is an optional vision rider available on this product. It's $8.28 in all states except for Nevada. Okay, so if you write any business in Nevada, I think it's about $1 more expensive. This provides optional, again, it's a rider, it's optional, vision type services. It's paid on a reimbursement basis. So take a look at that. And then this one is not yet available, but we are in kind of the design mode right now. We're coming out with a discount plan. It's not insurance. If your client sees the need for dental coverage, they just don't have any room in the budget for it, well, this might be a good plan B option for them. It's about $10 a month. And it's not insurance. They'll get a card in the mail, and they can take this into any providers included in the network, and they're going to get 10 to 40% off. It's based on the type of service received, and that discount is off of the full bill. Okay, so less coverage is definitely not insurance, but for people that have a little bit more of a limited budget in which to work, it's a good plan B option. Here's a look at the state availability today. However, we just got communicated that we got 4 additional approvals. That's Kansas, Illinois, Maine, and what was the other one? Utah. Sorry, I had a mind blank there. So Kansas, Utah, Illinois, and Maine. So that's what the new map looks like. This is effective March 16th. So next Friday, if any agents on the call are riding in those 4 states, this will be coming down the pike here very soon for you. Just a couple more things on the dental product. We have a lot of great marketing resources available. So you put a marketing campaign together. We got brochures, we got correspondence letters, we have postcards. Here's a brief look at what those look like. So call into sales support, get an order taken care of, work with your marketer at Art Jetter & Company, and they can help you with that too. We also have a product and rate guide. That middle slide right there, a screenshot, that's what we just walked through, talking about the plans, and then the rates are in here, and that's on the right-hand side too. And then finally, there is a network. I had mentioned this, or alluded to it at least, just a couple slides ago. It is the Dentamax Plus network. There's about 373,000 access points all across the country. It's a national network, so very strong network. But take a look at it first before you really start to promote the product to your clients. Go to this website right here, dentistforme.com/Mutual of Omaha. It's a full website. It's not just what you're seeing here, but I just took a quick screenshot of how to search for a dentist that's in the network. You can search by location, which is what you see here. You can also search by dentist name. You can search by office name. It'll plot everything out on a map. It's very easy to see. That's a great resource for you as well. Okay, so that's all that I have. I'm going to turn it back over to Rob. We'll see if there's any questions that came in. And while he's organizing those questions, you can see this slide here. If you have any questions on anything we talked about today, please reach out to your marketer. They're a wealth of information for you. So that's all that I have, Rob. I'll send it back to you.
Jason, thank you very much. That was a fantastic presentation. We do have a few questions. Jason, if you could refer back to one of the competitive maps that show where Mutual Omaha is most competitive in, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Mutual Omaha's main competitive advantage is with their Plan G, especially when the household discount is factored. The 12% household discount in most states where people are applicable to anybody who's just married, or if they're living with somebody in the household that's 60 years of age or older. The spouse or person they live with does not need to be a policyholder. So I think the statistic is over 75% of consumers are fit that definition for their household discount. So Jason, can you elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I definitely should have talked about that. I apologize that I didn't. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about some of the differentiators for us as a company to separate ourselves from the crowd. The household discount is far and away one of the most important things when you're taking a look at the various med supp companies that you work with. You see a 5% discount out there. You see a 10% discount. We have a 7 and a 12%. So the amount, especially when we're talking about a commodity product, if we can shave 12% off of your client's annual premium, well, that's going to do a lot of things to get your client to buy into what you're quoting for them. And it's not just the amount. The qualification requirements, they're different from company to company as well. Our 12% discount, that one is a little bit newer. So beyond the fact that your client's going to save a little bit more money with that one, it's also a lot easier to qualify for. On the old 7% discount, your client has to be living with another Mutual of Omaha Med Supp policyholder. So a pretty baseline scenario in which you might find yourself in, you're talking to the husband. In a lot of households, the husband's a few years older than the wife, right? Well, let's say he's just now retiring, he's turning 65, he's enrolling into original Medicare, he's applying for a Med Supp policy with you, but his wife, let's say she's 60, she's still working, she's still on a group health care plan. Well, we only have one soon-to-be Med Supp policyholder in that home, so we can't offer the household discount in that scenario. But with a 12%, it's not a two policyholder rule. It's what we call cohabitation. All we're looking for the 12% is, do I live with a spouse or a domestic partner? If I can say yes to that question, and again, using that previous example, guy's married to his wife, but she's still working. She's not a Med Supp client at that point. Even though those are the facts, we can offer the 12% discount because we can say, yes, he lives with his wife. And it doesn't stop there. If your client is not married, but they live with, like, say, a sibling, they can qualify in that case too. If that is the situation that we're looking at, though, we ask that that person is at least 60 years old and they've been living together for the previous 12 months. We get a lot of questions on why we have those additional requirements, because I know there's some competitors of ours out there that don't. Well, the whole idea of a household discount is we want to attract more healthy business to us. It's actually very similar to what we talked about today. We want more underwritten business, right? It's more profitable for us as a company. Well, there's a lot of research out there that shows if your client is married, they live with someone they care about, they're just healthier people. They exercise more, their well-being is stronger, they eat better, they get more exercise and activity. That's the business we want. So if we can encourage those people to come to our company, and we can do that through discounting the premium that they're paying, well, that's how we achieve that factor. So married, domestic partner, yes. Sibling, someone else, yes as well. We just have those requirements because we want to avoid the situation where maybe they live with like a live-in caretaker or somebody. That person could be 30 years old. Because they have a live-in caretaker, maybe they're not the healthiest person out there, and we want to avoid that. We want to really isolate the section of the market that we're going after. Okay.
Thank you, Jason. Further questions involve wanting to know what we can do for leads here. Yeah, we have an excellent lead generating program here at Art Generating Company. We like to call it that we give you the tools to put in your toolbox to help you generate leads. So one of the main ways that we go about that is we do provide you lists of people who are turning 65 or any Medicare eligible age. When you get appointed with Mutual of Omaha, as soon as you get appointed, we can provide you that list, that customized list from USA Data, which is an exclusive. They have an agreement with Mutual Omaha to be Mutual Omaha's data provider, list generator. So that's an excellent opportunity that we provide you. We also can provide you additional lists when you issue business. We'll give you 200 names for every issued e-application that you do with Mutual Omaha. Just be sure to let us know. And really, I also want to point out too that the really strong opportunities right now in the new states: Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa, West Virginia, where Mutual Omaha's affiliate carrier, United World, has been introduced in those states. The rates are very competitive, a bit of a decrease from what they previously had available in those states, in many parts of those states. And particularly in Illinois, for the people, and I see a few people from Illinois on the call this afternoon, a bit of a sales tip. A lot of Blue Cross MedSup policyholders have seen recent rate increases. So it's important to contact those policyholders. If they're in good health, you can rewrite them with Mutual of Omaha, save them money on their premium. And in addition to that, it's an underwritten case. If you do 5 of those in the month of March, you will get $200 for every issued underwritten app that you do in the month of March when you have at least 5 that are issued. So a tremendous opportunity for you to lower your clients' healthcare costs, and Mutual Omaha is going to give you a bonus on top of your commissions for that as well. Jason, one of our agents is asking regarding the dental policy. Is there a missing tooth exclusion, if you're aware of that, on the dental policy, like there is in other policies from other carriers?
You know what? I don't know on that. So let me take that as a follow-up. I'll find out. I'll email you, Rob, and then you can pass that info along.
That's what I figured. Absolutely. I will let you know further a couple of other things that we at Art Generating Company can provide for you. We have an excellent an excellent quote tool available. Our quote tool allows you to not just quote Medicare Supplement, but you can also quote final expense, hospital indemnity, and dental, all from one platform. It's a tremendous value to you and helps you show your clients competitive options versus multiple carriers. So if you have any further questions, please type those in the chat box. I'll be sure to address those. And in the meantime, just certainly look to us. Contact your appropriate marketer, whether it's Joanne or myself or Emily. We can certainly help you out with any of your Medicare Supplement questions to help you write more business and helping you lower your clients' healthcare costs. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Jason, thanks very much for taking the time out of your day to make this presentation as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was fun.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.